Hello, CA warriors. How are you all doing? Friends, today we are going to start with a very interesting topic. But, friends, before that, remember the goal of this video is not to go deep into every single concept, but to give you a crisp, exam oriented summary so that you know what is important and how to remember it smartly. This book and video together will act as your perfect self study partner. And I'm super confident, guys, that after this revision, you will be able to solve any MCQ that come your way in the exam. So let's begin this rapid fire revision session. And yes, if you find these notes helpful, don't forget to share them with your friends. Let's start with a unit 2, the era of economic reforms. Friends, economic reforms are not just a policy changes, they are mindset changes. In this chapter, we will understand why India was forced to reform, what reforms were introduced, and how these reforms reshaped India's economy. By the end, you won't just remember reforms, guys, you will understand their logics and impacts. So, to understand this reform and this chapter, we must first understand the background of the chapter. Friends, economic reforms in India began in 1980s. The intention was very clear: move away from strict government control and improve economic growth. As you know, before 1991, 1980s, government used to run the whole country in a controlled manner. Now, government used to think if we're going to control, everything will be sorted now and country will grow. But government thinking process was wrong. That they realized in 1980s. And now they are moving from strict government control to a economic growth. Earlier, that is what I'm saying. Earlier, India followed inward looking policies, right? Now they are focusing on self-reliance and limiting the competitions. So guys, these reforms were gradual and not widely publicized, but they increased growth rates during the 1980s. The key area of reforms are actually industries, now, trade, taxation, and exchange rates. Now, these were the four main key areas so that the revenue can be increased and industrial development can take place majorly. Now, guys, but reform, that means you can understand, reform did not come by choice. They came because of serious economic pressure. Now, you can say that, guys, need is always the mother of innovation. That same similar thing happened with Indian government. Now, if you can understand what was the causes of reforms, right? As I told you, let's understand the causes. What was the need? Now, it was not by choice, it was forced. What was the problems? Now, the first and the major problem was high fiscal deficit. Friends, government spending more money than they are actually earning, so excessive expenditure, rising the debt burden. India became a debtful country. Oh, so first was high fiscal deficit used to be there. Second was, now why there was a high fiscal deficit? Now the revenue of the government was lesser, so it is directly connected to unstable tax system. Yes, now government have imposed a taxation, but people don't used to pay only. So the compliances was very weak. That's why there was a fiscal deficit. So complex and unclear tax structure, poor tax compliances was the major reason that government revenue was very low. Oh, third was now Gulf War and oil price shocks. Friends, at during that period there was a sudden rise in oil prices, and actually it resulted into high import bills and pressure on the economy. Our import expenditures was increasing, and now the more further it has been increased the debt and the deficits. The third problem was Now, India was having a lower foreign exchange reserve. It was said that in 1980s, India was having only $1.2 billion dollars. That means barely enough to pay for the imports for the 1 week. Means after 1 week, might be India would have declared bankrupt country. Oh, so very tough and you know painful situation was going on in the country. Now, import restrictions. Guys, as I told you, government used to control each and everything. Now there was a import restrictions. Heavy control on imports was there. Industrial output, due to which industrial output suffered due to lack of inputs. For each and everything means people, companies cannot freely import the machineries, import the goods which have damaged the industrialization growth. Then, due to debt, we were highly dependent on IMF loan dependency. Guys, India have taken a IMF loans. Now, strict economic conditions were imposed. Of course, when you take a loan, now the opposite country become more powerful and they always keep you now below in under your hands and they always give some conditionals. So India was pressurized and now they imposed a lot of conditions due to our growth has restricted. Now, political and economic crisis, guys, was high. That means political policy instability and low confidence. Now, loss of domestic and international trust. Guys, due to so many problems, no money, no foreign currencies, low industrial growth, now increasing debt, increasing burden of the loan. Now, IMF used to pressurize to us. Now, our confidence was totally on the ground. So it indicates that reform were not optional, they were unavoidable. Am I correct? Now let us clearly understand what the reforms aimed to achieve. Now, what is actually a objective of the reforms? So friends, the first and the main objective was reduce government interference. Yes, encourage competition and efficiency. Now government have made it clearly his mind. Now they will going to remove all the control. They will going to make businesses free. Now do the business the way you want to. Oh, second was reduce fiscal deficit. This was a two major concern for the country. Right now, control spending and improve financial stability was the another main objective of the reforms. Oh, so by keeping these two objectives in the mind, reforms was introduced. Now, objective were clear, right? Now let's see how reforms were actually implemented in 1991. So let's discuss now economic reforms 1991 in India. The first reform was fiscal reforms. The main reform, guys, fiscal reform, as I told you earlier, India's structure was very complicated. People don't used to pay the taxes. That means, can I say there was a weak tax compliances. So government have decided first to improve the taxes because if tax revenue would not have increased, we will not be able to now channelize our financial problems. Am I correct? So first thing, stable tax system. Now, in financial reforms, they introduce a clear and fair tax structure, easy law so that a common man can understand and they voluntarily should start paying the taxes. Better tax compliances. Yes, they made tax compliances very clear and very strict, ensured that people always, each and every person should pay the tax properly, otherwise they will going to be punished. Then cutting government spendings. Of course, now government have started reducing unnecessary expenses and like subsidy reductions. Guys, they have stopped giving unnecessary subsidies so that efficient use of public funds can be done and public funds can be used, this tax revenue can be used for productive things. Oh, so financial reform was basically now to reduce the second objective to reduce fiscal deficit. Hope you got it. Second reform came into the now after now financial reform government was knowing now the second area where they want to make a stronger is monetary and financial sector reform. Means now the second backbone of the country is the banks. the financial institutions. Now, that should be now reform should come in a banking sector so that bankings can grow, banking should develop, and the financial sector should develop in the country. So what policies they have introduced? First policy was interest rate changes. Guys, this was the first time now that government made free banks that they can decide interest rate on their own. Earlier, interest rate used to be decided by RBI and all the commercial bank need to follow. But in this reform, now they have given the freedom to the bank. They can fix interest on loan however they want to. So let the bank decide the interest rate. Second thing, new banks. Now, RBI have promoted many corporates and they started issuing the license to start a new bank should come into the banking sector, allowed new private banks for more competition. Oh, now private banks were promoted. That's why today you can see ICICI Bank, then Axis Bank, UTI Bank, right? These are the HDFC Bank, and many banks came into the market so that banking sector could develop and banking network should go to the rural areas also. Oh, reserve requirement. Guys, as you know, you have studied chapter number 8. Now, all the banks have to maintain CRR and SLR with the RBI. CRR and SLR always affect the liquidity. So, in the banking sector reform, earlier there was a highest rate of CRR and SLR, due to which to provide a loan in the market, liquidity used to be less with the banks. So, in this reform, they have reduced CRR and SLR so that more liquidity banks can provide more loan to the public and more development could have take place. Branch opening flexibility. Of course, RBI have made a complex rules easy and made a branch opening flexibility to the banks. Means now banks are easily without a lots of formalities they can open branches wherever they want, they can close down whenever they want. Okay, means totally banks got the freedom to do the business however they want to. Better accounting rules, little bit transparency to maintain this transparency because banks always use public funds so that banks should not get into some mal misconduct of the business. Now RBI made a better accounting rule system so that fraud should not be taken place with the public's money. Otherwise, public will lose the confidence of the bank and the financial sector may collapse. Oh, so overall, these reforms aim to improve the economy by managing money better, making banks more efficient, and reduce government controls. Hope you got it. Yes, the third reform came into the existence in a capital market. So after fiscal reform, after banking reform, the third major reform was capital market reform. Guys, now to control, to regulate, now and to make a share market more user friendly, now one organization established, SEBI, in 1988. But you know the history, you know the background of Indian share market. In 1992, Harshad Mehta case took place, right? Are you getting my point? Due to which now the scam, it was a huge scam in the Indian share market. Share market got collapsed because it was not under so much control with the government, and lakhs of people suffered a losses. So many people conducted these suicides now, and Indian government learned that lesson from that scam. Ki share market should be now regulated. Otherwise, people will not going to be having confidence in the share market, and financial sector will not get developed. So then the SEBI was established in 1998 and the complete power was given in 1992 after Harshad Mehta case, where the SEBI become a quasi-government institute now who used to regulate the capital market independently and transparently to avoid again that scam of 1992. Oh, guys, the biggest change after these reforms, the biggest change came in actually industrial policy. The popular policy, which came in 1991, the entire credit goes to now a former prime minister. At that time, he was a finance minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh. Okay, yes, guys, new industrial policy. It was a totally reform making, which actually changed the shape of the India. Today, whatever you're seeing a new India, it is somewhere, it is because of new industrial policy. Oh, now Three to four major changes. Guys, prior to 1991, Indian government, when Nehruji started running the country from 1951, their mentality was privatization should be get discouraged. Private sector should not do the business as they are the selfish people, right? As so all the businesses was opened by public sector and governments to if any private people want to do the business, now they have to take the license. In India, license was raj was going on. My god, such a tough policies, such a restricted policies, it now the major problem because of this license raj and so much strict rules, was that there was a brain drain from the India. So after 1991, when the economic was on the ground, it was totally collapsed. India was on the verge of bankruptcy, no money. Government realized that the policies which now we were following is totally wrong. So in 1991, four major, many initiative has been taken, but four major things has shaped now, reformed, now changed the face of the country. The first is end of license Raj. Yes, now end of license Raj. In as per this, licensing system has been removed from the country from the majorly all the industries except five critical sectors. Yes, means now no businessmen have to take the licenses from the government. They are free to start whenever they want. They can start any businesses. Oh, but five critical sectors are there on which today also license is compulsory. Yes, that is very logical because these are the sectors which is very, very, very risky for the society. Now, that are industries such as arms and ammunitions, atomic substance, narcotic drugs, hazardous chemicals, alcohol beverages now need a license, health, safety, and environmental concerns. Right? Yes, these are the five sectors. If you want to start a business of a cigarettes, if you want to start a alcohol manufacturing, some hazardous chemicals, arms and ammunitions, you need to take a license from the government. Except this five sector, no need. Now, license Raj has been removed from the country. Second was changes to MRTP Act. Changes in MRTP Act. Now. Removed mergers and takeover restrictions. Earlier, MRTP Act was imposed so that companies should not grow. This MRTP Act was so negative act, it used to restrict, due to controls, it used to restrict the growth of the companies. That government realized later and they have removed MRTP Act. Now, ठीक है, because of that, now the mergers and takeovers have taken a very freely now things. Okay, now simplified investment decisions also. Now this was MRTP. Now the MRTP has been abolished and government has to came into existence. MRTP Act has been replaced by a Competition Act where government is encouraging competition. Oh, de-reservation of small scale industries. Guys, large firms, now earlier there was a restrictions. Large firm cannot enter into the particular sectors, but now large firms allowed entry into the that that sectors also which was previously reserved for small sector, and vice versa small sectors also, small scale industries can also open the businesses in a sector where it's previously reserved for large industries. It improves the efficiency and competition to grow. Guys, competition is always good, that help us to improve. Am I correct? Yes. Now the major, reduce public sector monopoly. Yes. The two major things which has been taken place is liberalization. That's why we say, guys, new industrial policy have three pillars: liberalization, privatization, and globalization. LPG, these were the three basic pillars of new industrial policy. Now, after ending the license Raj, the second most important decision was, and remarkable decision was, reducing public sector. Now, after 1991, government have decided they will never going to do the businesses. They will just going to run the country. Their primary focus is just to run the country, right? And because of this intention, a government have sold all its companies to the private sector, and private sector came into the existence. So opened up many sectors for the private participations, right? Yes, majorly all sectors are open for private sector, but except two, that is railway and atomic energy. These two are today also remain with the government because this cannot be given to the private sector. Except these two sector, all sectors are privatized. Here the picture come, the era of privatization started in India from 1991. Oh, so friends, now freedom to produce led to freedom to grow. This you have realized. Am I correct? Guys, domestic reforms were followed by opening doors to the world. These were the 4 points where the repairing took place, reform took place within the country. But you know what? Our industrial system was literally very weak. We would realize that now we need a financial foreign supports. So here, domestic reforms were followed by opening doors to the world. Foreign investment liberalization taken place. Friends, Indian government prior to 1991 now was following closed economy. Import restrictions was there. Foreign companies was not allowed to enter into the India. In fact, government didn't allow to a Indian businessman to do the business in a private sector, foreign sectors now. But in 1991, you know what, now government have allowed foreign companies to do a business in India. That is called foreign direct investment. And at that time, guys, 51% foreign direct investment in Indian companies were allowed, means partnership with an Indian company. But today it is extended to 100% in many areas, means foreign companies are independent to start their own branches without involving Indian company in India. And guys, because of that, many private sector banks, many foreign manufacturing companies are operating in India. Right? Yes. Prohibited FDI in sector like. Yes, but today also, guys, FDI cannot come. FDI is not allowed in some of the sector. That is retail trade, retail sector, atomic energy, lottery business, and betting and gambling. In these sectors, FDI is prohibited today also because these are the riskiest sector or might be unproductive sector. Okay, so because of this, guys, impact is capital inflow took place, technology came into India, global interference came into the India. Guys, trade and currency system also have involved. Now, once you allowed a foreign companies to come into India, external trade liberalization took place. Yes, shift from Indian government have actually shifted from positive list to negative list. As I told you earlier also, in India, import was very much restricted. People are not free to import the goods, due to which industrial growth has been damaged. Only government will going to import. And if you're importing goods, the import duty was so high that you will going to think 10,000 times to import the goods from the foreign country, which actually damaged the development of the country. Now, earlier Indian government used to follow positive list. List means now Indian government have made a list of the product. Only that products can be imported in India. Now, and majority goods you cannot import. That is called positive list, which was a narrow policy, narrow mindset. Positive list always indicates narrow mindset of the government. But then they shifted from positive list to negative list. Means now negative list means this time they have made a vice versa. Only few selected items you cannot import, which is risky for the country, and except that few selected items which is called negative list, you can import, people can import, businessmen can are free to import any goods. So opened up this import concept. So negative, Indian government have shifted from positive list to negative list, and import licensing has been liberalized. Okay, so second was removal of import licensing, and third is tariff reduction now, which is a part of actually external trade liberalization. Guys, earlier government used to charge in 1990s 355% of import duty. Tariff means government was clear cut intention that common man should not import goods in India. But now the intentions shows 355% of the import duty has been reduced to now 10%. So tariff reduction has taken place. It indicates that now government has opened their country, opened their country's door to the global market. Oh, next is friends, trade policy reforms. Now, trade policy reforms again related to import restrictions has been removed. Government have removed quantitative restrictions. Tariff simplification has been done, as I told you, from 355% to 10%. Now, import duty has been reduced. Import license has been removed. Right? People import license procedure has been liberalized. People get an easily import license and they can import the goods. So these were the external trade liberalization related matters. Now, the last but not the least, currency devaluation and exchange rate reforms also taken place. Friends, Indian government foreign exchange market has been accepted. Rupees has been devalued by 18 to 19% in July 1991. Guys, dual exchange rate system was adopted. Means now government have opened this their currency. Indian currency should be valued by a foreign exchange market, and it was not controlled. Now you have studied exchange rate regimes in a chapter number 9, so you know this. Established dual system in 1992. Okay, dual exchange rate under unified system means now the exchange rate of the currency will not be decided by the government of India. It will be fixed by, it will be decided by a market which depends on demand and supply equilibrium. Oh, manage floating exchange rates. Yes, RBI is to manage floating exchange rate. If for example Indian currency become a weaker, so RBI have a authority to maintain the exchange rate by pumping the by managing the supply and demand of the Indian currency. This all technicalities you have studied in chapter number 9. Am I correct? Unit 5, I think so. Fine. So these were the reforms came into the existence, guys. After all the reforms, guys, the next question arises: what changed over time? Guys, after the reforms, what changed over time? Economic changes over 31 years. What changes has been taken place due to reforms? Very positive changes has been taken place. Whatever problems we were used to facing the 1991, before 1991, that all problems was actually getting solved. Yes, global integration took place, right, because of foreign investments. Now reduce government interventions. Now control has been reduced, people has been become free, and freedom always bring a growth. Innovations promoted market oriented economy. Growth of private sector has been taken place. As you know, privatization was the more important intention. Increase private sector investments and incentives. Now initiatives, sector competitive has been taken place. Because of privatization, high competition has been taken place, and because of that the performance of sectors has achieved global competitiveness. Trade facilitation has been taken place. Easy trade controls, access and foreign resources has been given to the companies. Stable foreign investments, strong foreign reserves. Where India was a foreign reserve deficit country, today we are having a good foreign reserves with the government. Service trade surplus. India was facing a trade deficit, but right now India is booming in the service sector. Now, in right now, at present, in service sector, trade surplus is going on. That means I can say India's export of services is greater than the import of services. Okay, because of now rupee devaluation, and we have accepted a foreign exchange money convertibility due to markets, rupee stability has been taken place. Now, poverty reduction, financial sector growth, infrastructure development, agriculture, our dependency on agriculture has been reduced. Indian economy has been shifted from agriculture to service sector, and debt constraints also has been reduced. Means so many positive changes has been taken place. And you know what, guys? Because of these all reforms, today you can say India is actually developing and a good level of rich country. Prior to 1991, India was recognized as a poor country, weak country financially now, and poverty was very high. So, guys, I can say that with changing time, even the planning framework is also changing. Friends, the bold step has been taken by the government in 2015 that India government, that is BJP Sarkar, have established a Niti Ayog. So our next topic is what is Niti Ayog? A bold step of transforming India. Before you understand the Niti Ayog, first you have to understand what is Planning Commission Department. Friends, now as you know, in 1947, India got independent. Nehruji was become the first prime minister, and India started the running our country from 1951. But to run the country, Nehruji have realized that plannings are needed, because to run such a huge country, planning should be done. Without planning, country cannot grow. So the first initiative was taken by Chacha Nehruji, was they have established one department called Planning Commission Department. Their main job is to do the plannings to structureize how the India should be grow, and they used to conduct a 5 year plans, long term plans, and then the action has been taken towards that direction. Planning Commission Department used to do a planning from 1951 till 2015. Now, but in 2014, BJP Sarkar came into the existence. They realized now Planning Commission Department is outdated, orthodox, and very slow process. So BJP Sarkar have taken a decision now that from Planning Commission Department, now they have replaced to the Niti Ayog. A new department came into the existence, Niti Ayog. So Planning Commission replaced. Now, why the major objective was respond to collapse of old planning systems, old ideologies, some new innovative new blood should come into the thinking. Now new generation thinking should come, planning should become, an action plan should become very faster. And aim was to promote innovative thinking and cooperative federalism. Oh, so let us understand what was Niti Ayog aims to achieve. Now, what was the objectives of Niti Ayog? So, friends, let's understand one by one. Shared nation vision. Cooperative federalism means we should take the support of the state governments also and various experts also, and then we should do the plannings. Local plannings, guys, the planning should not be done only on the upper layer. The planning of the impact of the plan should be goes to the villages at a ground level. Means plannings and action should be taken from the background, from the below point zero grounds. National security, ensure strategy considers national security. Inclusive growth, now high strategic policy framework should be done. Partnership should be done with the encourage collaboration with think tanks and institutions. We should not only involve only to the government officials, we should involve to the businessmen experts. Now, innovation support, promote the innovations. Now, establish some organizations who do the innovation, because without innovation, development will remain slow. Issue resolution, whatever problems may be come into the India, now it should be solved with it at a faster pace. Knowledge centers has been opened up. Now program evaluation, monitor and evaluate implementation. After implementing the policies, now they should check at the ground level whether it's a positive impact or negative impact, now and take the corrective measures. Technology and capacity building and various other additional activities. So overall, in a one line, you don't have to go into the detail, just read twice. Now reason being, every positive point has been taken by the Niti Ayog, obviously. So these are the objectives, and by considering these objectives, friends, now government Niti Ayog have taken a various key initiatives and very long-term visions. Now, what are the key initiatives has been undertaken by the Niti Ayog? Let us understand one by one. First is Life Initiative. Now, Life Initiative means it aims to replace use and dispose economy, that is for sustainable lifestyle, so that people should be healthy and wealthy. They should always live a healthy life. National Data Analytic Platform, one more program has been launched. Guys, this the objective of this portal was to have give open access of the government data, so that private sector get the well informed analysis data, and accordingly they can take the decisions. One more initiative has been taken by the Niti Ayog, that is Shunya campaign. Guys, Shunya campaign means, Shunya means zero, zero pollution economy. Now government have, Niti Ayog have set the targets, and because of that, to reduce the air pollution, government have promoted electric vehicles nowadays. Yes, and to promote electric vehicles, now they have develop one portal, that is e-Amrit, on which you can get one-stop destination for electric vehicle informations. So those who want to purchase the vehicles and they are afraid of now how this technology will be, now all the clarity has been given e-Amrit portal. Oh, next is methanol economy program. Now to reduce oil imports now and emissions. Guys, as you know, methanol is a chemical which has been you know produced from the wastage. It's a recycle, and methanol is as good as oil and petrol, but it's not as efficient. India is mixing in oil a methanol, so that the oil consumption should be get reduced, and oil air pollution should be reduced. Transforming India into a global market. Obviously, we are open to the globalization, and India is doing very well in the globalization. So no institution, but guys, so many initiatives. It's a very long-term vision. It's not 1 year or 2 years vision, right? So these are the important initiatives has been taken, and many more has been taken place by Niti Aayog. But guys, Niti Aayog is a very, very, very bold step and new generation institution. But as you know, no institution is perfect. So let's examine some criticisms. People have criticized this Niti Aayog on certain from certain point of view. They have said that Niti Aayog have limited authority, they have limited roles, they are just stick to the plannings and they are not involved in the actions. Okay, exclusion from budgeting. Niti Aayog cannot be considered into a budgeting now. be- They can just do the plannings. Lack of autonomy. Niti Aayog lack independence and power within the policy of making apparatus. Yes, Niti Aayog will just do the plannings. Action will be taken by the government. That means government can change the planning of made by Niti Aayog. Means Niti Aayog does not have the sole authority. And one more thing, guys, Niti Aayog comes under the power of Prime Minister only. Oh, we counterweight बराबर. Now, because unable to act as a counterweight to the Ministry of Finance, if Finance Minister now Finance Minister decision will be final in a financial matter, Niti Aayog cannot convince them on that. And voice of development, insufficient focus on development things. So these many are critics means the major critic is actually Niti Aayog does not have exclusive powers. They just do the planning part and the action part will be taken by the government. Means final decision will be the government of the government only, of course. So friends, these were the reforms taken place now, which has been changed the Indian shape, India's face. That's why after 2022, we can say India is a new India. Right? Yes. So economic reforms, finally, I've explained you this all things. Now you have to read it once. So I can say that guys, economic reforms transformed India from a controlled economy to actually a confidence driven economy. Am I correct? Hope you also agree with this. Niti Aayog represents India's attempt to plan with flexibility, cooperation, and innovation. Am I correct? So, friends, conclusion is this chapter lays the foundation for understanding India's future economic direction. So, further in the next chapter, you will be able to understand what are the action plans. More action plan has been taken to develop various sectors. But hope you understood Unit 2. So that's it, my dear students. This was your quick revision session. Simple words, clear concept. Now there is no room for confusion. If you understood everything in one go, say yes, sir, and give it one more quick revision. Remember, smart study is the best strategy. Keep revising, stay confident, and believe in your preparation. And don't forget to tell your friends that these notes are total exam lifesaver. Stay consistent, stay motivated, and I will see you in the next rapid fire revision.